Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
Hey, so glad you can join us wherever you may be. It's our Super Bowl show.
Super Bowl preview.
He is Blake. Of course, I'm getting it out of the way. Where's the bell? Ding, ding, ding. You can catch him with the Mitch Album Show on 760 WJR and, of course, on Sports Rap as well. I am Sean. Blake is smart. Blake wanted to point something out right away. Normally, we interact with you guys during the course of this show. We had to pre-tape this, so we apologize ahead of time. I love chatting with people. You guys have been so great in the chat and everything. But, yeah, Blake, we both have a lot of things to do. Super Bowl Sunday afternoon. I know you have some work you have to do. I'm going to be on, here's a plug for you all. I'm going to be on with Jack Ebling on Fox 47. Talking about the Super Bowl. So, but let's get this out of the way right now. If you're looking for a place to talk about the game, look no further than right here. Blake and I are going to be back after the game. Count on it. Like within minutes, right, Blake? Like within minutes.
That's the plan.
Right?
We are going to go live right after. I think we go live right after we find out who the MVP is. So that I know who I lost my Super Bowl MVP bet on.
All right, start there. Like seriously, for a guy like you, how many bets do you have? I should have called Iviso for this too, to see it, compare and contrast what you guys are hitting. Like honestly, for this game, how many pieces of action do you have?
A good amount. It's a good amount, definitely. I will bet the coin toss. I love betting opening kickoff will or will not be a touchback. I like betting that. I like betting that it will be because but usually it's not. But I like it, stuff like that. And then I'll bet like first touchdown scorer. I'll bet obviously like the line and the over under, all that stuff, all that nerd stuff. And then
do you bet the Gatorade? What color Gatorade will they?
I don't get into that. No, no, I don't. Well, the thing with that is, a lot of the legal sports books don't offer that stuff. That's more of an offshore thing. And I like to stay legal, I'm a proud man.
Of course you do.
And then but I also live bet more on the Super Bowl than any other
absolutely.
Game. Because I'm like, I want to bet next touchdown score, that kind of stuff.
All right. So I want to bring this up because you and I talked about this, like when college football ends, especially in a year like this for people like you, Blake, the Michigan fans. I always refer to it as the infinite sadness. Like I'm not joking. That Monday night, I always just go, it's gone for so many months. And then it starts again, like the second the Super Bowl ends. Like I'm not even joking. I sit back and I start to say to myself, do I really have to like wait until the Hall of Fame game to see some football? And obviously there are other options, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Do you have that same routine? Like whenever the Super Bowl ends, like I sit back and go, it is forever until the next season starts. And I'm not joking. I remember talking to you about this last summer on the radio. Like I can't wait for that first Thursday night Hall of Fame game. I'm not even joking. I understand that it's fake. I understand that it means nothing. I have preached that for years, but I'm just happy when that game's on. There's just a sorrow that hits where football's gone. It's really, really gone.
I think I've said this to you before. There's something very calming about just a brown ball moving across green grass. Doesn't matter how it's provided to me. There's just something calming and musing for me in that. I agree 100%. And I will watch some of the spring league, the UFL. I'll watch a little of that. I'll have it on in the background, but I mean, there's nothing like the NFL and college football. There's no recreating that.
No. I love going to spring football games, and I have gone to Wayne State's, Michigan State's, and yes, Michigan's as well. I love going to the spring games because it almost is like a breath of fresh air. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's a breath of fresh air. But I know something near and dear to your heart and something that you participated in. Man, that opening night of the high school season, it's like my heart is a flutter. I kid you not. I love going out, whether it be to Northville where we live now or my old alma mater, Livonia Stevenson. I love going out and catching a game. I can't wait for that to start.
Yeah, no, and I mean, high school football in this area has really grown, and I think like the local news stations and everything, their coverage of it has gotten so much better.
Oh,
and it's definitely becoming more and more a part of people's Friday night routines, which is great. Great to see for those kids.
I'm impartial to a little company called State Champs, but yes, the way it's covered is unbelievable. All right, so the last time you and I talked about this, we have literally not talked about this in the time between the last show that we had, which was Wednesday, and now. Have you vacillated as much as you were vacillating a few days ago? Because really, up until I would say about 10 minutes ago, I went back and forth, but I think I'm going to stand where I'm sitting right now. Have you been vacillating on this one as well?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth like crazy.
Yeah,
I've overthought it and underthought it a million different ways. And I still haven't made my 100% complete.
You have to do it.
I know. I have to make a pick during this show. But here's the thing. For me, gambling brain again, I'm like, how are the Chiefs not favored? 70% of the money is on the Chiefs. 70%. And they're still obviously the line has moved a little bit. It was 2.5, 3 earlier in the week. It's down to 1.5 now as we talk. But still, how are they not favored? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's Vegas telling me they want me to bet the Chiefs, I feel like.
Sure.
But at the same time, I'm like, how do I bet against Patrick Mahomes?
I know. That's where I'm at, dude. Honestly, I hate to be as simplistic as we were a couple days ago, but that's I can't get past that point. Honestly, I can't get past that point in my head of they have Patrick Mahomes and you don't.
Yes.
And that's not a knock against your boy either, okay?
No,
I mean, that's
no.
not a knock against Shaky or really anybody else, but that's where I'm at with this matchup. And it's interesting because I was one of those guys throughout the course of the year until, that beatdown happened against Baltimore. I thought that San Francisco was a machine. I thought that nobody was going to beat San Francisco. And then obviously they showed that they were quite mortal. And let's face it, it hasn't been an easy run for them in the playoff either.
No.
I think a lot of Packer fans would agree. An ill-advised Jordan Love throw. Maybe we're talking about a different scenario. Obviously, we know what happened in the Lions game. I don't want to even go over it. It's still too near and dear, and my heart's still too tender. But they haven't looked dominant. But at the same time, I think, Blake, we know how well San Francisco can play both sides of the ball. We know that they can take on that machine-like look, so to speak, with Brock Purdy at the helm, I might add, because I'm going to beat you to the punch, lest we forget Brocktober. I mean, all jokes aside, they looked like a machine, and he looked like a guy that was in control of the machine for a large portion of this season.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the most shocking thing about San Fran, especially recently, is where's their pass rush?
Yeah.
Where's their defensive line? They have dudes on their defensive line. Don't get me wrong. Chase Young, whichever Bosa is on there, Ohio State. But they have dudes on the D line. But they weren't creating pressure against the Lions, really. They have to wake up at some point, right? You would think. But you're 100% right. back to what you're saying. This game legitimately could go either way. Both offenses can clearly score. You have Patrick Mahomes and you have San Fran with Brock Purdy and all those weapons. Or it could be a defensive battle because I have faith in both of these defenses 100%.
No, I agree. It's so funny because the way that the NFL has changed, I used to have this argument with like people 10 years ago, and I think most people get it now. Okay. Look, this league wanted pretty offense. This league wanted, protect its quarterbacks. Let's make it all about the pretty passing game. That's why you've seen numbers shattered across the board. You've seen so many different, I guess, offshoots of that happening. With that being said, there's a whole reason I went into that dialogue. I'm going to double back to your point. How often have we seen it when this game comes? It's which team's defense can really invoke their will. It is more times than you can shake a stick at. And sure, we've seen some of those back and forths and all of that. Okay. But to your point, more often than not, it's okay if our defense can get to the quarterback, because I'm a firm believer that the NFL today is what can your quarterback do to the opposition and what can the defense do to the opposition's quarterback. Okay? That's the NFL today in its simplest form. And if you're getting after a guy, okay, and I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if it's Brock Purdy, if you're getting after a guy, we've seen that play itself out so many times in Super Bowl. I mean, the Tampa Super Bowl, right? Yeah. I mean, that was one of the, they are making his life miserable. Clearly the best quarterback in the game at the time, no disrespect to Tom Brady, but they made his life miserable and you saw Tampa walk away with it.
Yeah. And after that season, what did Kansas City do?
You got it.
They went out and they spent money on their offensive line. They said, we have Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL. Tyreek Hill's great. Everything else is great. Travis Kelce, great. But we have to spend money at one place. It's offensive line because that guy can take us to Super Bowls with or without weapons. That's how good of a player he is. And they've proven it, clearly.
Yep. It's interesting. I hate to come back to the Lions for a second, but here we are having this conversation. How many times in years gone by have we said you can't even imagine the Lions being compared to Kansas City, or you can't even imagine the Lions being compared to San Francisco? And obviously, I mean, I think one of the things when I was growing up, Blake, it almost seemed to me like when the NFC Central game was on at 1:00, say the Lions and Vikings are on at 1:00. It was almost the equivalency of a JV game. You had the Lions and Vikings on at 1:00, and then the Eagles and the Giants at 4:00. The Cowboys and the Redskins at 4:00. It's interesting. While we were having this conversation, this popped into my brain. Like, the Lions belong in these conversations now, and that's pretty stinking cool. I think even a guy like you, who, let me remind everybody out there, Blake got dragged kicking and screaming into the Lions van. He really did. When he said they have to win a playoff game before I'm in, when the Lions won, he was like, he's a man of his word, but he said, I can't believe I'm going in. Even a guy like you, all jokes aside, I mean, here we're having these conversations, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, they went into Kansas City and knocked them off week 1, and we saw how close it came in that Frisco game. It really is amazing to think about how far this franchise has come.
But take it right back to what we were just talking about with Kansas City. You know why you have faith in that team and that offense?
You got it.
It's the offensive line.
It's
Shout
huge.
out Lomas Brown.
It's huge.
Like, if you have a great offensive line, you have a chance in the NFL. Period.
Yep.
Look at those, like even Dallas recently, have they had playoff success? No. But the reason why they're so consistently good in the regular season is because they have a good offensive line. Philly from last year, great offensive line. Like, when you have a good offensive line, you can do a lot of things in the NFL and you can score points, period.
Yep.
Now they just have to figure out the defensive line. Because I think Aiden needs a little help.
He absolutely does.
And maybe another move besides the spin move.
And at the end of the day, do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like when Ndamukong Suh was here, and when guys start triple teaming, in theory, it should open things up. And remember, I'm not taking anything away from Uncle Cliff Averill, but if you remember, Cliff started to eat. Cliff started to eat when all that pressure was rolling over in Ndamukong Suh's way. Cliff really started to eat. So, obviously, as we continue with our partnership with the friends from Detroit Sports Commission, we're going to be talking a lot about that and looking at particular guys as well that we think would help the Lions. I want to tell you about our friends from Wealth Advantage, if I may, for just a second. Jeff and Mike, there they are. Mike on the left, Jeff on the right, two handsome fellas, friends of mine and financial advisor of mine. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? Look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by two brothers, the Husacks, with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, or already in retirement, these guys can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world is complex, so if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be a good time to work with a couple of experts. Reach out to my friends, Jeff and Mike, at the Wealth Advantage Group. That's 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Make sure to tell them that we sent you. They're great guys. They'll take care of you as they have taken care of me and my family. Blake, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask me anything you want, buddy.
Where do babies come from? No.
When a man and a woman.
What defense do you have more faith in this game? Because I think my answer, I feel like, would surprise a lot of people, but I want to know what you think.
Kansas City.
Me too.
Kansas City. And again, maybe I'm putting too much into that which I saw the last month of the season. Okay. I would rather have the trending up defense than the trending down defense. I always go back to that year that the Giants won the Super Bowl, the second time, the 2011 Giants team. That was a meandering team all season long, and then something happened. They got healthy late in the year, and all of a sudden that defensive line made life miserable on everybody, literally miserable on everybody, including the great Tom Brady in that Super Bowl, if you recall. And I think this is a Kansas City defense that has gotten better as the season has progressed. And like I said, I might be putting too much into that which I've seen down the stretch with this Frisco defense. But this Frisco defense, really going back to the Baltimore game, hasn't looked like that defense that you saw the first couple months of the year. To me, and I remember joking with you about this, Blake, when we were doing the show with Lomas, the Niners were can't miss television for about 2 months. And it was a combination of things. It was watching Brock Purdy do Brock Purdy things. It was Christian McCaffrey, who's just a weapon. And it was that defense. And I've seen that defense go like this as the season has progressed and even into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Fred Warner and Greenlaw, the other linebacker, those guys are must-watch television. Those are two of the best linebackers in the entire league. Those guys are awesome to watch. But like we said, their defensive line has been so up and down and shaky, as you would like to say. And their secondary, like Ambry Thomas, my man from the University of Michigan, has just gotten cooked so many times. But yeah, no, I agree 100%. The Kansas City defense, they've drafted so well, man. Like, they're so deep and they're so young, and they're very fun to watch, very fast.
So I have to ask everybody, because not that any of you would remember, I have a very unique perspective in regards to where I'm watching the Super Bowl and who I'm watching the Super Bowl with this year. Blake, you're at that age, I'm guessing, where there are probably multiple options for you to go to Super Bowl parties with other young couples and all that. Have you figured out where you and your significant other, the lovely Amanda, are going?
We're going to be at home for two reasons.
Just you
us
two?
two for two
Oh.
reasons. So first of all, I knew I wanted to go live after the Super Bowl with you.
Oh.
So that was I feel like that's important. We're building something here. We got to go live.
That's a Steve Mariucci quote. Guys, don't say that.
Second of all, Amanda works at a school, so she has to be up early on Monday, and she gets very anxious if she's not in bed early. So I don't even know if she's going to stay up and watch the whole game, to be totally honest with you.
No,
So-
I get it. I am going to be at home with my two dogs. And it's funny because I'm not going to mention any names, but I had a lot of buddies kind of reach out to me and go, dude, I wish I could come over and watch the game with you. You can't ditch your significant other on Super Bowl Sunday. You can't.
Mm-mm.
And I know some of you have super fan wives, okay? I mean, my wife is certainly not one of them. But that's a day that the wives want to be there and they want to get together. Maybe they just to watch the commercials, and that's fine. Whatever, to each their own. Okay,
catch Taylor Swift.
Yeah, whatever the case may be. Now, again, I don't want to paint with a broad brush because there are a lot of women that want to watch a game, and maybe their husband is the opposite. It's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And it's funny because Blake, I had a lot of my buddies say, "I want to come over, dude, but I can't." And I totally get that. Like, I totally, no, you got it. You know, your neighbor's having the party. Your wife wants to be there. It's a shindig. Like, Blake, I got to be honest with you. I kind of like that I'm sitting at home by myself with just the dogs. I got to be honest with you. I kind of like it.
I've been talking about this too. For me, like with this job and what we do, I have to know what actually happened in the game. I don't need a bunch of half-ass football fans that don't really know what they're talking about in my ear chirping during the Super Bowl party. Oh, I can't wait to see the commercials. No, like there's a game on. I need to know what the hell's going on. Period. Point blank. Because I have to talk about it on here, and then I have to go to a radio station the next day and have everything ready to go. That's all I care about.
You just brought up there are two things that we have, and I know I've told you this before. It may have been the first pearls of wisdom I've ever dropped on you. We have the ultimate excuse. But honey, it's my job. It is. It's the greatest excuse. It can't be argued. And there have been many, many attempts. I'm sitting up at 11:30 on a Saturday night watching, Fresno State take on San Jose State. It's my job. Why don't you come to bed? It's my job. Are you really going to talk about San Jose State and Fresno State? I might.
You got to be ready
how
for
do
anything.
you argue that? Right. How do you argue that? So that's the good angle that we have behind that. And number two, you brought up something. I don't know. I think you probably know this about me. If other people don't know, I don't like sports bars for the reason that you just gave.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy sports bars. Now, if it's a random Monday night game, like I went out with our buddy Dave Rieger and my son Jack on a Monday night, and we watched his beloved Broncos and Bills on a Monday night. It was a good time, good company. We had some food, no big deal. But if you're talking about my team, I don't want to hear the guy down the bar from me chirping, and 9 out of 10 things that he says are completely false.
Yes.
And I'm not talking opinion stuff, okay? I'm talking about just factually incorrect.
Yes.
If it's my team, that is the last place I want to be. Like and for years people said, well, if the Lions go to the Super Bowl, would you go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. No way, no how. I am going to literally batten down the hatches, put boards up in my house, and I am hunkering down in my house. I don't want to be at a sports bar. I don't want to be at the game. I'm going to savor every last second of that. And if by some strange chance I end up shirtless on my front lawn with pizza in my hand after the game because the Lions win, so be it. That's fine. And I'll celebrate with my neighbors. But Blake, I don't want any part of it. I really, and I mean, no disrespect to anybody out there, but I'll hear about this Super Bowl blowout or that Super Bowl blowout. And it's like, guys, seriously, have a blast. I don't mean any disrespect. I just want to watch the game.
I agree. 100%. I'm like that. I mean, I can do it for like, even like baseball. Like I if it's even a playoff game, I'll go like, cause I'm not a seam head, you know? So I can go to a bar, watch a playoff baseball game. Like back when the Tigers were like on those runs, that was my early 20s. So I enjoyed like watching those games with people because I don't need the commentary as much. But for football, I need it. But at the same time, this is the one year where I'm like, I don't know if I need it because I hate Tony Romo so much. I'm not looking forward to that whatsoever.
I have done a 180 on Tony Romo. I thought he was a breath of fresh air when he first came out, and his staying power has proven to be zero with me.
Yeah,
like
he doesn't add anything to the broadcast whatsoever.
No, and I love Greg Olson. I think he's he's like literally the best in the business right now. And it's a shame for him. He's going down to the number 2 team because of Tom Brady. But I think, listen, that doesn't take any shine off of that star. I think he's phenomenal. But Romo was something new and something different that first year, and I kind of liked it. And now do you know what? It's quickly gone to old bit territory for me. It's just gone to old.
So many, but you can tell he's not putting the work in anymore. That's the difference. When he started, he was really putting in the work, watching film, doing everything to make sure he could do his thing, predict the plays, all that kind of stuff, which was cool. Whatever. His voice always has just annoyed me. There's just something about it. But now it's just gone to, yes, a bit. He's making noises. Oh, I don't know, Jim. Oh, no, I don't need it. I don't need it. He's not good. And anyone that says otherwise is wrong. Period.
Were you old enough to remember the late great John Madden later years? Okay,
I was not.
I am probably in the very small minority, but John Madden became a caricature of himself. That does not take away from the fact that he was an absolute legend. Rest his soul. I thought the last few years, like the way that you just described Tony Romo, John Madden became that guy that it was almost like the John Madden, you pull the string and they have like 3 or 4 lines they say.
Yeah.
Dink, doink, butt sweat, boom. It really turned into that stuff. It turned into a caricature of himself because before, it was putting in the work. It was, oh my gosh, this dude knows himself. Because I think the one thing that the NFL understands greatly is every guy out there thinks that he knows the game. Every one of us, you do, I do, Todd does, every one of us. And it attracts geeks like no other than hockey, as far as I'm concerned. Like hockey knows that the people that are watching are geeks. And the same thing could be said about the NFL. And so when you start to go down Mail-in Road, which I think with John Madden, a lot of it had to be because of his longevity and certainly his age.
He had an excuse.
As great as he was, I thought the last few years he became a complete parody of himself. And I know there's some people that are probably going to watch this and go, Baligian, you're an idiot. How can you say that about a legend? He is a legend. Both things can be true. He's a legend, but I think the last few years he became a caricature of himself. Romo became a caricature of himself way early in the process, way early in the process. I think that's a great point by you.
He's the worst. He's the worst. I think that there's plenty of better people calling games. 100%. I've always been a Buck Aikman guy. I really like their chemistry. I like the way they work together. And I agree.
I think Troy's
Olsen,
underrated.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Troy's underrated. Yeah.
100%.
I think he's underrated. Hey, let me tell you about Legacy before I put Blake on the spot and ask for his prediction. Blake, you have to give one, dude. You're going to have to give one.
I know.
Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? You need to do the same. Joe, Alex, Dave, the whole staff, great guys at Legacy Partners. They are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents and provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large or small. Legacy has got you covered. They have helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and helping you save some money at the same time. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policy in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. This is the time to give my friends at Legacy Partner a call. They can help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. And please, by all means, when you give them a call, please tell Joe or Alex or Dave or whoever you deal with that we sent you their way. We really appreciate them being a part of this fun little venture. All right, Todd, we're going to put you on the spot too. Todd, you can turn your camera on or you can type it into the chat what you think is going to happen. But Blake, I'm making you go first. That's right. You go first. How do you think this one's going to play itself out?
I was muted. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
There we go. I have a prop for you. All right.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've noticed this, my friend that's been behind me for the last couple weeks. This is the GOAT named right now. His name's Brady.
No, I can see why.
But after this game, there might be a little debate on what the name should be of this GOAT. I am going with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the I can't do it. It's the Chiefs.
I'm with you. I called myself out on Wednesday for being simplistic. I'm going to call myself out today. 31-27, Mahomes throws a touchdown with a minute left. Like something like that, something dramatic. And you can do a Tony Romo having an orgasm imitation. You do a damn good Romo. Every time you do that, I remember the first time you did it on the radio, I almost lost it. I spit water out. So yeah, you do it like the way his voice goes up in inflection and everything.
Yeah.
31-27, 34-31, something like that. Mahomes is going to throw a touchdown with a minute left, and Kansas City's going to win.
But I think that's too high scoring.
Do you really?
Yes. If there was one, like, if you had to tell me I could only bet one bet on this game, I would take the under.
Okay.
Yeah, I like under 47.5.
All right. Todd, do you want to put your money where your mouth is? Who do you like in this one?
I go Chiefs 34, 49ers 31. And McCaffrey and Purdy have the chance to win it, but they muff the handoff and fumble in the last 30 seconds of the game.
Could you imagine that?
At second and goal, they're going to pound it in. They've run the clock down, and they muff the handoff.
And I will immediately text Blake and go shaky Purdy. Immediately.
Even though that's not even his fault.
Even if it's not his fault, that's going to happen. That would be a good prop bet. How many times do I just send Blake a one-word text simply stated shaky during the course of the game?
How are you going to do that after I just picked the Chiefs, though?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Point. I took away all your ammo.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time either. All right, listen, stuff. we are going to be back tonight as soon as the game is over. Enjoy the game. Make sure you tell us about what kind of fare you have. Blake, I am just doing something simple for me. Shrimp and andouille sausage. I put them together like a little kebab. It's unbelievable. I'm going to have to make it for you boys sometime. Yes. So in the meantime.
Also, real quick.
Yeah.
First touchdown, Kittle. Book it. Kittle. That's the play.
All right. So let it be written. So let it be done. We will talk to you after the game right here on Off the Air. For Blake, for Todd, I'm Sean Baligian saying enjoy the Super Bowl.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian, featuring Sean Baligian and Blake Majchrzak. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Majchrzak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Off the Air with Sean Baligian on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.